Have you ever trusted someone so deeply, only to find out they were never who they claimed to be? What if the love of your life, the one you thought was your forever, was actually hiding the darkest secret from you? This isn't just a story. It's a journey of betrayal, heartbreak, redemption, and finding strength where there was once only pain. Today's story will take you through the emotional highs and devastating lows of a woman who lost everything and found herself. But hey, before we dive into this powerful story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We've got more heart-touching, reality-inspired stories coming your way, and you won't want to miss them. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into it.
In the heart of Toronto, amidst the bustling streets and towering skyscrapers, lived a young woman named Emma Thompson. At 28, Emma was the epitome of grace and intelligence, with her chestnut hair cascading down her shoulders and eyes that held stories untold. She was both admired and envied. Emma hailed from a modest background. Her parents, Margaret and George Thompson, owned a small bookstore in the suburbs. From a young age, Emma was instilled with values of hard work, integrity, and resilience. She spent her childhood immersed in books, often losing herself in tales of love, adventure, and heroism. After graduating with honors in business administration from the University of Toronto, Emma secured a position at a prestigious marketing firm, Brightwave Strategies. Her dedication and innovative ideas quickly caught the attention of the higher-ups, propelling her up the corporate ladder. It was during a company seminar that Emma met Richard Bennett, tall, with a commanding presence, and a smile that could disarm the sternest of hearts. Richard was the CEO of a rival firm, Bennett & Co. Their initial interaction was purely professional, but as fate would have it, their paths crossed repeatedly at industry events. Over time, their professional camaraderie blossomed into a deep friendship. They shared late-night conversations about their dreams, fears, and the challenges of the corporate world. Richard was captivated by Emma's intellect and authenticity, while Emma found solace in Richard's unwavering support and understanding. After 2 years of friendship, Richard confessed his feelings. He spoke of how Emma had reignited a spark in him, a desire to build a life filled with purpose and love. Emma, though initially hesitant, realized that her feelings mirrored his. They began a relationship that was the talk of the town. Their love story was nothing short of a fairy tale. Richard, being from an affluent family, introduced Emma to a world of luxury. Lavish parties, exotic vacations, and high-profile social circles. Despite the opulence, Emma remained grounded, often retreating to her parents' bookstore to find solace. A year into their relationship, Richard proposed during a serene getaway in Banff. Under the starlit sky, amidst snow-capped mountains, he knelt and presented a ring that shimmered like their dreams. Emma, with tears of joy, accepted. Their wedding was a grand affair, attended by business magnates, celebrities, and close friends. Emma's best friend, Daniel Clark, stood by her side as the maid of honor. Daniel, a childhood friend, had always been Emma's confidant. Their bond was unbreakable, forged through years of shared experiences. Post-marriage, Emma took a step back from her corporate role to focus on philanthropic endeavors. She initiated programs to support underprivileged youth, providing them with education and mentorship opportunities. Richard supported her wholeheartedly, often accompanying her to events and fundraisers. However, as years passed, subtle changes began to surface. Richard became increasingly engrossed in his business, often traveling and missing important events. Emma, though understanding, felt a growing distance. Their once frequent conversations became sporadic, and the warmth they shared seemed to wane. Daniel, ever observant, noticed Emma's melancholy. During one of their coffee meetups, he voiced his concerns. "Emma, is everything all right? You seem distant." Emma forced a smile. "Just the usual stress, Daniel. Nothing to worry about." But deep down, she couldn't shake off the feeling of isolation. The man who once showered her with affection now seemed like a stranger. One evening, while organizing Richard's study, Emma stumbled upon a folder labeled Confidential. Curiosity piqued, she opened it to find documents indicating financial discrepancies and secret offshore accounts. Shocked, she delved deeper, uncovering evidence of embezzlement and unethical dealings. Confronting Richard, she demanded an explanation. He dismissed her concerns, attributing them to misunderstandings and assuring her that everything was under control. But Emma's instincts told her otherwise. Determined to uncover the truth, she confided in Daniel. Together, they began an investigation, piecing together a puzzle that revealed a web of deceit, betrayal, and manipulation. As the layers unraveled, Emma discovered that Richard's empire was built on lies, and she was merely a pawn in his grand scheme. The realization shattered her, but amidst the pain, a fire ignited, a resolve to seek justice and reclaim her life. The days following Emma's discovery were a whirlwind of emotions. The man she had loved, trusted, and built a life with was not who he seemed. The documents she found hinted at a web of deceit far more intricate than she had imagined. Emma's once warm and inviting home now felt cold and unfamiliar. Each room echoed with memories tainted by betrayal. Determined to uncover the truth, she turned to Daniel, her lifelong friend and confidant. Daniel, a seasoned investigative journalist, was initially skeptical. "Emma, are you sure about this? Accusations like these can destroy reputations." Emma met his gaze, her eyes filled with resolve. "I need to know the truth, Daniel. I can't live in this shadow anymore." Together, they began to delve into Richard's business dealings. Late nights were spent poring over financial records, emails, and transaction histories. Patterns began to emerge: shell companies, offshore accounts, and suspicious transfers. As they dug deeper, they discovered that Richard had been embezzling funds from his own company, diverting money meant for charitable causes into personal accounts. The man who had once championed philanthropy was exploiting it for personal gain. Emma was devastated. The causes she had passionately supported were being used as a facade for Richard's greed. Her trust had been manipulated, her values betrayed. Determined to confront him, Emma waited for Richard to return from one of his frequent business trips. When he walked through the door, she stood firm, holding the incriminating documents. "We need to talk," she said, her voice steady. Richard glanced at the papers, a flicker of surprise crossing his face before he composed himself. "Emma, where did you get these?" "That doesn't matter. What matters is that I know the truth now." He sighed, attempting to maintain his composure. "It's complicated. Business isn't always black and white." Emma shook her head. "This isn't about business. It's about integrity, trust, and the vows we took." Richard's demeanor shifted, defensiveness replacing feigned remorse. "You don't understand the pressures I face, the expectations." "Then help me understand," Emma pleaded. "Tell me why." But Richard offered no explanations, only excuses. Realizing that the man before her was a stranger, Emma made a decision. She moved out of their shared home, seeking refuge with her parents. The familiarity of the bookstore, the scent of aged paper, and the comfort of her childhood room provided solace. Daniel remained by her side, offering support and encouragement. "You have the strength to overcome this, Emma. You're not alone." Emma began to rebuild her life. She returned to her roots, organizing community events at the bookstore and reconnecting with old friends. The warmth of genuine relationships contrasted starkly with the coldness of her marriage. News of Richard's misconduct began to surface in the media. Whistleblowers came forward, and investigations were launched. The empire he had built started to crumble. Emma watched from afar, a mix of sorrow and vindication in her heart. She hadn't sought revenge, only truth. But justice, it seemed, was finding its way. One evening, as she closed the bookstore, Emma found a letter slipped under the door. It was from Richard. "Emma, I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness, but I need you to understand that I never meant to hurt you. The world I was trying to conquer consumed me, and I lost sight of what truly mattered. You were my anchor, and without you, I'm adrift." Richard. Emma read the letter, emotions swirling within her. She felt a pang of sadness for the man she once loved, but also a sense of closure. She folded the letter and placed it in a drawer. A chapter of her life concluded. As she stepped outside, the city lights shimmered, and the cool breeze carried the promise of new beginnings. Emma took a deep breath, ready to embrace the future, whatever it held. The weeks following Emma's departure from her marital home were a whirlwind of emotions. The betrayal she had uncovered left her grappling with a mix of anger, sadness, and a longing for the life she once knew. Seeking solace, Emma immersed herself in community work, channeling her energy into the bookstore's outreach programs. She organized reading sessions for children, writing workshops for aspiring authors, and mental health seminars. The community's response was overwhelming, and Emma found a renewed sense of purpose. Daniel remained a constant presence, offering support and companionship. Their bond deepened as they spent more time together, sharing stories, laughter, and moments of introspection. One evening, after a successful community event, Daniel and Emma sat on the bookstore's rooftop overlooking the city lights. "You've built something incredible here," Daniel remarked, sipping his coffee. Emma smiled. "It's the community, their resilience, their stories. They inspire me." Daniel hesitated before speaking. "Emma, I've always admired your strength. Even in the face of adversity, you shine." Emma looked into his eyes, sensing a depth of emotion. "Daniel, your friendship has been my anchor. I don't know where I'd be without you." As days turned into weeks, their relationship evolved. The lines between friendship and something more began to blur. They shared stolen glances, lingering touches, and moments of vulnerability. Meanwhile, news of Richard's legal troubles dominated the headlines. Investigations revealed a web of financial misconduct, leading to his company's downfall. Former associates distanced themselves, and Richard found himself isolated. One afternoon, Emma received an unexpected visitor at the bookstore. Richard. He appeared disheveled, a shadow of his former self. "Emma, I need to talk," he pleaded. Reluctantly, she agreed, leading him to a private corner. "I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness," Richard began, "but I want you to know that I'm truly sorry. I lost sight of what mattered." Emma listened silently, emotions swirling within her. "Richard, your actions hurt not just me but countless others. Apologies can't undo the damage." He nodded, tears welling up. "I understand. I just needed to say it." After he left, Emma sat in contemplation. The encounter stirred memories, but also reinforced her resolve to move forward. That evening, she met Daniel at their favorite cafe. "Richard came by today," she shared. Daniel looked concerned. "Are you okay?" She nodded. "Yes." It brought closure. Daniel reached across the table, taking her hand. "Emma, I care about you deeply, more than just a friend." Emma's eyes met his, a smile forming. "I feel the same, Daniel." Their hands intertwined, marking the beginning of a new chapter, one built on trust, mutual respect, and genuine affection. Months had passed since Emma confronted the truths that had once shattered her world. The seasons changed, and with them, so did Emma. The bookstore, once a refuge, had transformed into a vibrant community hub. Children's laughter echoed during story hours, local authors held readings, and the walls bore art from budding talents. Emma's vision had breathed new life into the place, turning it into a sanctuary of hope and creativity. Daniel stood by her side, not just as a partner in business but in life. Their bond, forged through shared experiences and mutual respect, had deepened. They complemented each other, Emma's compassion balancing Daniel's pragmatism. One evening, as they closed up the shop, Daniel turned to Emma holding a small velvet box. "Emma," he began, his voice steady, "life has thrown its share of storms our way, but through it all, my anchor has been you. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in Emma's eyes, a mix of joy and disbelief. "Yes," she whispered, embracing him. Their wedding was a modest affair, held in the bookstore's garden. Surrounded by friends, family, and the community they had nurtured, Emma and Daniel exchanged vows, promising to face life's uncertainties together. Meanwhile, Richard faced the consequences of his actions. Legal proceedings led to the loss of his assets and reputation. In a letter to Emma, he expressed remorse, acknowledging his wrongdoings and wishing her happiness. Emma, reading the letter, felt a sense of closure. The pain he had caused was undeniable, but holding on to resentment would only hinder her growth. She chose forgiveness, not for Richard's sake, but for her own peace. Years later, Emma and Daniel's lives were filled with love, laughter, and purpose. They expanded the bookstore, initiated literacy programs, and mentored young entrepreneurs. Their journey, marked by trials and triumphs, stood as a testament to the human spirit's resilience. Emma often reflected on her past, not with bitterness, but with gratitude. Each challenge had shaped her, teaching lessons of strength, compassion, and the importance of staying true to oneself. As she watched the sunset from the bookstore's rooftop, Daniel by her side, Emma smiled. Beneath that smile lay a story of endurance, transformation, and the unwavering belief that after every storm, the sun does shine again.